degree in psychology and a PhD in social psychology. And so I did study anatomy and physiology and brain and behavior. I also did a 5-year course on philosophy, so I've looked into scientific method and scientific advances. So fusion is based on understanding the basic elements of the body and the principles of their interaction. So we know the body is comprised of majority of water, up to 78%, and so it's the dominant feature. Now, in addition, there's bioelectricity in the cells of the body, so they're positively and negatively charged. So we've got water and we've got electricity. And research of the last 20 years indicates that water has 4 states, not the 3 that we are used to, solid, liquid, and gas. With the presence of electricity, there's a 4th element that water can undergo inside the cell membranes, and that's a gel. So that gel is going to have a different property, a different characteristics to what we would normally feel. And that's what fusion is tapping into, and I'll explain how and why subsequently. Another aspect of water is, believe it or not, it reacts to emotion. If you study ice crystals as they crystallize, if they're experienced happy, pleasant, positive thoughts while they're crystallizing, they have a beautiful crystalline structure. If they're exposed to angry thoughts, negative emotions, even heavy metal music, then that beautiful structure is distorted and ugly. So water has properties that we don't always think of, but put those two together, water can become a gel, and it can also react to emotion, and you have a fundamental basis for fusion Tai Qi Gong, wellness and well-being. So how's that working? Well, we know the body depends on oxygen. We need to take in air as well as water. And there's a PDF of a wellness booklet I wrote some years back, which is available on the website for free. So you can look into this in more detail in that. So if we accept that the body is holistic and the fluids are traveling around the body, the blood, the lymph fluids that take away the waste products themselves, there's a lot of fluid activity going on in the body. And again, we're tapping into that fluid nature of the body, because one of the laws, Boyle's law I think it is, says that pressure in one point of a liquid is distributed equally throughout the whole of that fluid body. So we're beginning to understand how it is that the body can respond positively to some of the things we experience in the Tai Chi and the Qi Gong. We're also, because of the exercises, the nature of the exercises, taking in more oxygen than we would normally do. So there's a very interesting book by Krista Murphy called The Science of Breathing, which gives a lot of detail on this. Again, it's a free PDF to download from the internet. And that describes how the oxygen permeates the body. And so with deeper breathing, which we get with the Qigong and the Tai Chi, you're starting that process of detoxification. The oxygen coming in, combining with the red blood cells, and basically working its way around the body, as long as there's not any blockages. And a blockage is created by tension, and tension is a killer. So anything we can do to reduce tension is going to improve our quality and maybe longevity of life. So we've got to tap into getting those fluids throughout the body without blockages created by tension. Hence the importance of sung, or being without tension, in all of the exercises. So, 3 elements, oxygen, water, fluid, they combine together. And in the exercises from Fusion, I didn't invent any of them. They've all been invented by far cleverer people than me. In particular, 2, Professor Li Yin for the Tai Chi, and Professor Zhang Wan Do for the Qi Gong, as well as some ancient, ubiquitous Chinese Qi Gong like 8 treasures. So there we have it. There's a scientific basis. You don't have to postulate any organs or meridians or fluids or vapors or anything at all. It's all understandable with some basic science. Apologies to those that study traditional Chinese medicine, but in modern science and advances, it's no longer necessary. You can explain everything about the benefits through a scientific approach, and that underpins fusion. So fusion is not only a great way of doing exercise, it has a vast underpinning in science. So I hope that helps. Thanks very much.
So, like the water in this plunge pool, our bodies need fluid constantly circulating to be healthy. And since we're 70 or 80% water, this pool is maybe a good analogy that what we need is ways of pumping those fluids around the body so that we can take in what we need, the nutrients and the oxygen, and eliminate any of the waste and toxin products. So I hope that analogy helps visualize why fusion does indeed keep us fit and well. Hi, and welcome to this video on a discussion of fusion and its scientific basis for producing wellness and well-being. My name's Gordon Ross. I founded Fusion a couple of years ago to promote the joining and harmony of Tai Chi and Qi Gong. So I am a doctor, but not a medical doctor. My background is I've got a first degree in psychology and then a PhD in social psychology. And we studied anatomy and physiology and brain and behavior. I also did a 5-year course on philosophy, so I'm interested in scientific method and advancing scientific method. So what I want to talk to you today about is the scientific basis for fusion of Tai Chi and Qi Gong. And to understand why fusion works, which it undoubtedly does, we have to look at the basic ingredients, the building blocks of our human body. So we know we're made up of 90% water. In the background you can hear the plunge pool gurgling away, just circulating the water constantly. I may have to find somewhere else to do this if that's too intrusive. But cut that out of your mind, that background noise out of your mind, and allow those external distractions to just dissipate. So the energy that we have is bioelectrical energy. We have electricity in our bodies, we know that. We have water in our bodies. 80% of us, up to 80%, is water. And the water that exists a lot of it is contained in cells. And water has 4 states, not just the 3 of solid, liquid and gas. There's a 4th state, which is when water's contained in a cell with electricity. Under certain conditions, it can become a gel. So it becomes more viscous, more stronger, maybe not the right word, but more potential for being strong. So we know the cells in our bodies have this ability to provide strength, force. Now, fusion is not about martial arts, it's about health. There's some really great examples of Tai Chi people showing immense power, immense strength, immense force, but also in a relaxed manner. And you can follow those if you want, but what fusion is about health and well-being. How is it that we can stay healthy? How can we stay fit? How can we stay well? By doing some simple exercises every day or every other day. So we're made up of water, we know that we have electricity, and we know the importance of breathing. We can't do without oxygen for very long. So that oxygen is circulating, nourishing, building red blood cells, and taking away waste products. And we also have the lymph fluid, which is doing the similar things. There's more lymph than blood, so there's a lot of fluid in the body, and pressure and a fluid in one part permeates to all the other parts of the body of fluid. So we know that, for instance, we can be in a position of sung and have the ability to hold a lot of push simply by allowing that to go through our bodies. So if the circulation of the fluids is important, and if oxygen and other nourishments are important, then the next issue is where there's tension, where there's constraint, those fluids are not going to flow as easily. They'll be under more pressure, but they'll be less effective. And so what we're doing in fusion is opening up the body, opening up the channels, widening the body, inflating the body. These are all parts of the exercises that we do, and they're explained in the fusion periodic table. So we now have the combination of positive pressure, plenty of oxygen, and the mind is in a state of no tension, sung, so the fluids can permeate, they can flow more quickly. And then we add the bone and the muscle and the tendon and the fascia, and that's a whole nother series of networks. The fascia connects everything to everything, so we can use the fascia when we're doing work with partners in push hands, and we can use tensegrity, that ability of the skeleton to hold itself as if suspended, and everything hangs together even though they're not physically touching. They're held together by that tensegrity, by that biotensegrity. So suddenly 4 or 5 elements begin to explain why FUSION Tai Qi Gong has the positive effect that it does. So all of that traditional Chinese medicine philosophy of fluids and organs and zones and energies and qi and all sorts of other things, basically in a scientific world, none of that is needed. apologies to the doctors of traditional Chinese medicine. But we've made huge advances in the last 50 years, and we understand what's going on in the body, what's going on in the brain. We're beginning to understand the brain-body interrelationships, how feeling well can make you well. And that's another aspect of water. So water, when it crystallizes to become ice crystals, if it's subjected to positive emotion, to positive gentle music, to positive attitudes, that crystalline structure becomes very beautiful. If, on the other hand, when it's crystallizing, it's subjected to anger, to tension, to negative thoughts, to discordant music, the crystals that result are ugly. They're not beautiful. So water, of which we're 80%, has the ability to transform to a gel. It has some sort of ability to link into emotional state. So again, by doing the calming and the meditation that's involved in Qigong and Tai Chi, we can become calm. So there, very, very briefly, and there's a lot more people qualified more than I am to talk about this in detail, but there's some of the reasons why I believe there's a strong scientific foundation to the reason Tai Chi, Qigong, fusion brings health and well-being. So I hope that helps. And you can become aware of the background music, and maybe I'll show a video clip of the circulation of the water within the pool before I jump in and cool off. Thank you very much.